Chapter 13. Brian POV. 4 months later. As we stagger into my room, her hands grasp desperately at my clothes, her fingers awkwardly fumbling with my buttons. Her lips suck and lick at my neck like a leech, but instead of arousal, I feel repulsion at every woman's touch. With a detached observation, I watch as she removes her dress, pulling it over her head. Then, with a firm shove, I push her towards the bed, causing her to stumble and fall awkwardly onto the mattress. Suppressing a laugh at her flailing arms, I can't help but find the situation anything but sexy. Removing my pants, I climb onto the bed and remove her shorts. She squeals at the sensation of the lace tearing, but I pay little attention to her discomfort. My anger, fueled by Alpha James's actions, drives me to seek release. However, as I push her legs apart and position myself, I regret bringing her home. I want minimal contact with her, yet she eagerly touches me all over, clinging to me like an octopus and attempting to kiss me aggressively. I sigh inwardly, wanting to get this over with as quickly as possible. Glancing down at myself, I curse silently, willing my body to cooperate. This situation is becoming increasingly embarrassing. I fear being labeled as the alpha with performance issues. Why am I experiencing this now? I've never had erectile dysfunction before. Did I somehow damage myself? What is wrong with me lately? Initially, I thought it was due to intoxication, but it's been 2 months, and I still struggle to maintain an erection. Baby, what's wrong? The blonde woman I brought home from the club whines, her voice tinged with concern. I feel the urge to tell her that it's her clinging on to me and touching me that's bothering me. Women always seem to flock to me, but lately, I've had no interest in them. They simply don't excite me anymore. God, please don't let me end up with a man as my mate. It's too late to suddenly switch sides now. I silently curse my erectile dysfunction, but her incessant whining is starting to grate on my nerves. Just stop, I snap irritably. I'm not sure if I'm frustrated with my malfunctioning body or her annoying voice. I should have known better than to hook up with an omega. They tend to be so clingy, but she does have nice physical features. It's a shame her personality is as dull as watching paint. Did you not hear me? Get out, I snarl, my frustration boiling over. She scrambles off the bed, hastily gathering her clothes and fleeing, tears welling in her eyes. Damn her. As the bathroom door swings open, I collapse back onto the bed, feeling defeated. My beta, Martin, enters the room. Man, you need to blow off some steam. You've been a total asshole since that redhead was here, he remarks. What redhead? I inquire, pulling the blanket over myself for some semblance of modesty. You know, the night you kicked out that rogue girl, he reminds me, and I strain to recall that evening. It was the last time I managed to have successful making love. Every attempt since then has ended in disappointment. I prop myself up on my elbow, feeling a mixture of frustration and confusion. I think that woman gave me an infection. I confide in him. Huh? The rogue girl? No, the redhead. She messed up my anatomy, I snap, irritated. Martin chuckles, shaking his head. Well, you should get checked out. And if you don't get some action soon, I might reconsider being your beta, Martin advises, and I grimace at the thought. There's no way I'm undergoing any invasive procedures. Martin starts to leave, dressed as if he's heading out on a date. I give him a once-over. He's decent looking, I guess. He probably has as much luck with women as I do. Relief washes over me when my body fails to respond. At least I know I'm not attracted to men. It just confirms that woman gave me something. Where are you off to? I inquire as Martin heads for the door. I've got a date because my equipment still functions. Unlike yours, he quips with a smirk. I growl in frustration, shooing him away. Martin chuckles and exits the room. I watch him leave before rising from the bed. Seeking solace, I step into the shower, hoping to wash away my irritation. My mind wanders back to the alpha meeting from a year ago. It was a costume party, and she stood out among the crowd, dressed as a fairy and adorned with glitter. Her mask obscured much of her face, but her striking blue-gray eyes and full lips were unmistakable. From the moment she stepped onto the dance floor, I felt drawn to her, mesmerized by the grace of her movements and carefree demeanor. Like a moth to a flame, we were consumed by each other. I wish I knew her name or which pack she belonged to, so I could find her. I can't seem to shake the memory of her. She frequently appears in my thoughts, the image of her riding me, her breasts bouncing above me, vivid in my mind. I long for a clearer picture of her, but she vanished without a trace, leaving me with nothing to pursue. I'm beyond irritated. Normally, I'm the one making a swift exit before they wake up in the morning, but that woman was long gone by the time I opened my eyes, leaving behind only a faint trace of her scent. I found Martin seated at the small table, sipping coffee and wearing a smirk that infuriated me. Looks like Snow White made her escape this morning, looking quite guilty. Seems like someone managed to outsmart the big bad alpha, he taunted, laughing at his own joke. The one woman I actually wanted to get to know had slipped through my fingers. Just the thought of her is enough to make my libido spring to life. I groan as I glance down at my sudden erection. Now you decide to cooperate, I mutter, annoyed. Wrapping a towel around myself, I reluctantly leave the bathroom and head back to my bedroom. A growl escapes me when I see the Omega sprawled out on my bed. Damn it, Martin. He must have sent her up here. Glancing down, I notice that I'm still aroused. I shrug it off. I'll just focus on thoughts of my mystery fairy. What's your name? I ask her, and she stares at me as if I've just proposed to her. Typical Omega behavior. I simply asked for her name, not her hand in marriage. Tessie, she answers, eagerly shuffling closer to the edge of my bed. Well, Tessie, you have 2 seconds to either start pleasuring me or leave, I command bluntly. Without hesitation, she drops to her knees before me. Her hands grasp my erection firmly before she takes the tip into her mouth. I instinctively grip her hair, guiding her movements as she continues. I resist the urge to look down, knowing that doing so will only hasten my climax. Instead, I focus on the image of my mystery fairy, thrusting into her mouth as I lose myself.